In 2007, the federal government passed the Mortgage Debt Forgiveness Act, but now that act is set to expire at the end of this year. Here to explain why that date is so important, you don't want to miss it if you've been thinking about doing a short sale. Fox 29 Common Sense lawyer Shari Olefson joins us to sort through all of this. There's so much confusion about what all this is and what it does and who it benefits or who it doesn't. So let's start with the basics of the Mortgage Debt Forgiveness Relief Act. Sure. Exactly what does it do and who can benefit?
Sure. Well, when you borrow money from a bank, the reason that you don't have to pay income tax on it, even though you're getting money, is because you have to repay that money. It's a loan. But what happened was when the real estate bubble burst, all of that changed because folks ran into situations where they couldn't repay that money anymore. And when banks started agreeing to short sales and basically forgiving that money, the IRS stepped in and said, whoa, 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 if that's not a loan, then it's income. And a lot of people were thinking that they had navigated a foreclosure or a short sale and it was behind them, only to get socked with an income tax bill from the IRS, which is like jumping from the frying pan into the fire. That's even worse.
Meaning that if I had a mortgage for $250,000, I've got to sell my house, but now it's worth $199,000. I would now have a debt of $51,000, but instead of the bank saying that was the mortgage, the government says, oh no, now you've kept that money.
Well, if the bank, as part of your short sale arrangement, says, because we've talked about deficiency judgments before, so if the bank says you don't have to repay that portion, that's part of the deal you made with your short sale, then the IRS steps in and says, well, even though it was a loan, if you don't have to repay it now, then it's income. So now you owe us income tax on it. So in 2007, President Bush stepped in with the Mortgage Debt Forgiveness Relief Act and said, you know, we're going to help a lot of Americans avoid this huge problem by having this act in place. Unfortunately, the act, unless it's extended, expires December 31st of this year. So anyone who's thinking about doing a short sale or foreclosure or any of those things needs to make sure that they get in under that deadline in case it doesn't get extended.
Meaning you will not have to be taxed on that income.
Right.
So how do you do that?
Well, this applies if the home is your primary residence, which again, for a lot of folks here in Florida, remember a lot of these things that were designed to help Americans don't really help us, and in particular, so many people here own second homes or rental properties, so it does not apply to those properties. The home has to be your primary residence. It applies up to $1 million, which for you and I, we don't need to worry about anything over that. I wish I had that problem.
I have to have 10 of my houses.
Right. And it does apply to any restructuring, modification, short sale, deed in lieu of foreclosure, but it only applies, you can only have this exemption if you use that loan money to buy a home, improve a home, or build a home. So if you did a cash out refinance and you use that money for something else, or if you got money back at the closing table and you use that money for something else, you won't get relief under this act. In order to take advantage of this, you can go to the IRS website, irs.gov, and you can run through their tax assistant to see if you qualify for this. You also need to make sure that you get your deal done before that December 31st deadline. There's a Form 982 that you'll need to attach to your income tax return, and your bank will give you a 1099. You want to make sure that boxes 2 and 7 correctly reflect the amount of your loan and the debt forgiven and the value of your home.
Will your banker help you with this, or your accountant?
Your accountant should help you with this, and whoever's helping you negotiate a short sale or whatever your solution is with the bank will help you to make sure you get that 1099.
It seems like we end every segment that we chat about this, but it's a lot of information, but it's very helpful information. It can benefit a lot of people. You have to ask questions.
You have to
get
aware,
out there.
and this is such huge money. And let me tell you something, you do not want to get sideways with the IRS.
No. No. Good final statement and good final advice. Shari, thanks so much for being with us today. Back over to the anchor desk.